Hello, I'm Evan. I'm 19 years old, and this month I'm trying to do $10,000 in sales. It's currently Wednesday, May 14th, and I've done about $500 in sales that I've actually been paid for. But other than that, I've done $1,000, but haven't been paid yet for the rest of it. My goal of 10K this month is very achievable. I have over $5,000 in product. I just need to make sure that I'm actually selling them. In order to achieve this goal, I've come up with a strategy in order to make sure that everything runs smoothly. There is a few different platforms I'm selling on. I'll talk about those platforms specifically in another video, but today I just wanted to talk about my goals. I am running 4 businesses. One of them is a clothing business. One of them is a tricking business, which is kind of like Taekwondo mixed with martial arts. That's what I grew up doing, and that's what I want to do for my career. Third is Shuriken Sweets. It's a candy company, and basically I just sell Japanese candies that are imported. And then fourth is building funnels / marketing for people. And so basically this SMMA. Now I know some of you guys are thinking SMA is pretty diluted, but you have to think about this. How many businesses is there in the world? You know, everything's owned by someone. My camera fell over, guys. My camera just fell over. Everything in the world is owned by someone. So, if everything's owned by someone, that means there's a lot of LLCs. That means there's a lot of businesses because people have to make money. Now, just when you go out every day, how many businesses do you see? How many different advertisements do you see? You see so many businesses, and all of these businesses could get scaled, and that could be done by you. That's why I think that's a really great business model. Let me close my computer, it's kind of loud. So my goals with these 4 businesses, number 1 is the clothing business. I want to hit about 3K in profit a month. This way I can simply pay for rent for a gym, and that's going to tie in with my tricking business because I actually want to have a physical gym, but also do online coaching. Number 3, Shuriken Sweets. My goal with this is just to learn how to build from the ground up and actually scale online. This way I have a reference for people when I'm talking to them. I can tell them about my achievements, and this is going to be one of them. Number 4, SMMA. You know, I haven't done too much with this company yet. I've put in a lot of work on the other ones, but not much on this one at all. With this one, because I'm going to have success with my brands, what I want to do is just take all of the success I've had with the other 3, market that, and then scale the 4th one. And I think that that's a pretty good strategy going forward. The clothing brand is basically passive. I don't really put in too much work on it. I just track stuff on a sheet. I just place orders, and I just list stuff online and ship it out. How many businesses have you actually done that only take like 4 steps? It's pretty crazy, but it's that simple. I'd say my most complex business is alien tricking. There's just a lot of different details to go through, especially when it comes down to actually getting a gym because of insurance and just finding clients. Now, there was certain ways I thought that I had wanted to run the gym, and I realized that there's just way better business models after doing research, and I'm very grateful for this. So the way I wanted to run it was I would just have classes at select times, and people would sign up for them, and I'd market it myself. I think that a way better business model, if you look at a lot of gyms around where I'm at, they have a place called Move Fitness. There's actual sales representatives. If you want to sign up for the gym, you have to talk to a salesperson, and that person's going to try and sell you depending on what your income is and what your goals are. They're going to ask you all that, you know, just basic salesperson stuff, and then they're going to sell you on the one that they think is, and they're going to sell you on the one they think's best fit for you, the one that's going to make them the most money, and the one that's going to help you achieve your goals. So I think I want to structure my gym around that. Basically what would happen is I would get a client, or maybe they'd walk in, and I would come up to them and then sell them on a class. One of the main things with this is that there has to be a limited number of spots per class. If there's not a limited number of spots per class, I don't think this really works that well, because you'd be selling them and they'd be like, wait, nothing about this is limited. Nothing about this is really special other than you're like the only person who's actually teaching it and you're a good teacher. I think that when you have something that's not limited, a lot more objections uprise. And you don't want there to actually be objections. I turn 19 in October, and my goal before then is to hit $100,000 in sales. That means I have how many months? We're in May. So June, July, August, September, October. That gives us 5 months. We have 5 months to make 100K. 5 months. You know, I didn't go to college. Straight out of high school, it's been a year since I graduated about. Graduation for my school is coming up soon. And, you know, I really didn't like school. I did well in school. You know, I could never get a 4.0, but I'd always get 3 A's and a B. The B would always be in math. I only had 4 classes. I chose not to go to college. My dad wanted me to go to college. It could have been beneficiary, but I decided I wanted to try and work on my own stuff. I wanted to try and build up a gym. And since I wanted to try and build up a gym, I ended up going on the venture of starting other businesses because I wanted to be able to run that gym stress-free. I realized my budget for the gym was too small if I was just working for someone. You know, I worked at Qdoba, and that really just put it into perspective for me that I don't want to work for peanuts for the rest of my life. I can't go to work and have a boss tell me what to do and just be slaving away every day for something I don't care about. You know, I don't really care about reheating food. I don't really care about cooking chicken. It's not something I'm passionate about at all. So I worked there for probably like 4 months, 3 months. Saved up money from that because I'm living with my dad. He's graciously just letting me save up money, build stuff up. That's one thing too. If your parents aren't willing to take the risk and invest in you, that can set you back so far. I'm really grateful to have a dad that was willing to invest in me, because without that, I would not be where I am today. You know, I'd say I'm in a pretty good spot. I have a lot of money saved up. I have 2 cars. I have all this inventory for my businesses, and I'm able to be putting money into businesses to build them. So I'm in a pretty blessed position. If you're in a position where your parents are not letting you save, explain to them how investing in you by letting you not pay rent or not pay for your food maybe, or just something, you know, have an agreement with them where it's like, if you help me save this money, like, I'm gonna do good with it. So that's definitely a topic that I think should be brought up more. You get so much more opportunity if your parents actually believe in what you're doing. But you can't just do that and not be putting in the work. You really have to show them that you're putting in the work. Every day, you gotta be grinding minimum of 8 hours, because that's a full-time job. But I would say probably 12 to 14 hours is best. Just make sure you take a break in between. We're at about $1,000 in sales for this month, and we're about a third of the way through this month, which is bad for me, but I think within this next week or 2, we'll get about $5,000 in sales, hopefully. And then the last week we can really just scale up and try and get the last 4K needed. So that's the plan. We're just gonna keep selling, but I'm gonna keep it slow right now. I have to keep it slow. That's the only way it's gonna work. And then once I know that everything's solid, I can scale and we'll shoot to the moon. And we'll see what my goal is for next month. But as for now, we really need to get to that 10K mark. Also, I wanted to mention, for clothing, if you want to get started in clothing, message me. I'll supply you with whatever clothes you need. I'll give you a good rate, good price. You just let me know. Also, I do online coaching for tricking. So if you ever wanted to learn how to flip, message me. I'll get you learning how to flip. All you need is just a place where you can safely flip, like the grass. Inside on a mattress would be great. That's all you need, and I'll get you learning it. Now, also, I wanted to briefly talk about why I do this and what motivates me to do it. I'm a Christian, and everything in life I do it's for the glory of God. So when I do something, I have to submit myself to God and think, does this actually honor God? For example, if I was reselling, but I was selling people fake items and lying about it. For example, if I was selling 1-to-1 reps and I was telling people they were real, what would that be? That'd be a lie, right? So I gotta make sure that when I'm actually selling, if something's authentic, I tell people it's authentic. If something's fake, I tell people it's fake. You have to be truthful in business, and that's very important. All right, and before I go off on a tangent on that, the other reason I do this is because I want to have a family one day, and I need to be able to provide for them. You know, you can provide for your family in a lot of different ways, but I just want it better for my kids. That's why I need to do this. It needs to work out. If this doesn't work out, it has to work out. Thank you guys for watching. See you guys next time. Subscribe, like, comment. Wait up, let me do that again. Subscribe, like, comment. I'd appreciate it very much. Have a good day.